bad just got worse. Punctures, overheating, broken axles, wrong directions, collisions. Exclusive to Supersport, the Paris Dakar Rally is proudly sponsored by Total Quartz Lubricants.
Of the Dakar 2001, with controversy with the two-time winner Jean-Louis Schlesser being pushed, well, in a time control, and at the refueling for the motorcycle section, just look at this. Chaos for Esteve Pujol and fuel just spilling everywhere. Pujol went on to win the stage, but not after Richard Sankt had gone past him, but then went on to lose some time. This is Abdou Thiam, the single driver in Toyota number 275. He said last night he asked his mechanics to raise the ride height a little and also change the diff. But these were images this morning with still 1 hour to go before the start of today's special. The mechanics, he said, have been working all night on it, and he was just very, very concerned that maybe he went too fast, too early in this rally. Eventually, though, it fired up, and as I said, the single driver combination. Note there is no navigator sitting on the right-hand side of the car as he looks at it. All the navigation and the driving just done by one man, just as in the motorcycles. Quad Belgian rider Rick de Prez continues on. Bernard Montaz took a spill yesterday, but fortunately for him at slow speed. Bas Berger, the Dutchman, he was lucky to get away without falling. Emmanuel Luapre continues on, as does Eric Vigarou in his Ford two-wheel drive Baja Special. Riders and drivers getting well into things, but some people having some bad luck. This is Canada's Patrick Trahan. He said, my engine broke this morning, and I said that I would get to the end, but maybe the end is here, in the middle of nowhere. And as we leave the northern and middle part of Morocco, the desert really does start. This is Laurent Bourgnon, the French sailing skipper in car number 231. He says, we're eating a great deal of dust today, and the co-driver says, we are getting through here, though, to the GPS point. Look at the roads as they go over one of the passes. Keep going right, he says. The co-driver a little bit more experienced on this event than Laurent, and the co-driver working wonders to get through this sand. If you stop and rev it, it's going to sink. He says we're getting through here to the GPS point, which is about 1 kilometer away, where there is a control point too. But the Dakar organisers have been very, very clever to put the point where we will find it difficult to find. A good bit of roadbook work. Today's stage down to Smara, the last full day in Morocco, a road section of just over 30 miles, that's 53 kilometers, a big special stage, 420 kilometers, the first third of which was quite rocky, and from then on it was quite quick. And then the first service where the airborne mechanics are allowed to work. This is Esteve Pujol. A new and very fast stage, but I hope there'll be no dust as there was yesterday. We are lucky with the windy conditions this morning, as it looks on the roadbook at least that it may be too difficult to overtake if it is very dusty. A lot of the riders coming into the bivouac last night saying that their engines were running rich because the air filters had blocked up and essentially the engine couldn't breathe. Well, Esteban Pujol got through the stage today in just over 4 hours and 2 minutes, and essentially he did the whole of the stage alone. Well, that was the first part at least. However, this is Richard Sanct arriving at the now not neutralized fueling points, and the guy in the red jacket just not ready for the arrival of Richard. The fuel not ready to be pumped into the motorcycles. Of course, the motorcycles have much smaller fuel tanks than the cars, and it's a disaster, says Esteban Pujol. I arrive and the guys are not prepared, and I'm wasting time. I've ridden so fast, and in the end, actually, one of the Dakar organisers from the TV crew gets stuck in, pouring the fuel in through the big funnel. Look at the wind blowing the fuel across. It's just like a 1930s refueling stop at a Grand Prix. But soon Pujol speeds out of the refueling section and on his way. Very, very angry indeed was the Spaniard. This is Frédéric Moncassin, the former Tour de France cyclist, having quite a big spill. But you'll be glad to know, ladies and gentlemen, he was up on his feet within seconds. He was okay. How do they do it? This is the top 6 on the stage today, going underneath our webcam on the side of the helicopter. And just look at how dusty the conditions are, but fortunately the wind blowing the dust away. Fabrizio Mioni, second on the stage today, only 40 seconds behind Esteban Pujol in a stage lasting over 4 hours. The Italian second overall after day 7 of Dakar 2001. Sweden's PG Lundmark running, of course, in the production motorcycle class. Not a full works machine for him, and his absolutely smooth, fine and flowing style working wonders, even though he dented an exhaust and he decided to raise the ride height for tomorrow's stage. Jordi Arcarons, he was 4th today, 1 minute and 53 back of Esteban Pujol. France's Richard Sanct, he was also rattled by the refueling problems and soon sped past number 3 KTM of Fabrizio Mioni in, well, yet another risky manoeuvre by Sanct. However, Sanct was now leading without having the 2 exhaust pipes of Mioni to follow. And in the end, Richard Sanct actually made a mistake and went wrong just before a control point, and in the end had to attack the control point from the other way. You may remember that Jean-Louis Schlesser did that the other day. Here is Juan Roma. Roma 6th today, 3rd overall. Carlos de Gavado, the winner from a couple of days ago, 7th on his KTM today, 7 minutes and 14 seconds back. Birthday boy the day before, Alfie Cox, had a terrible day today. 47th on the stage, losing 1 hour and 22 minutes. The South African hero buckled a front wheel. He waited for his teammate to come along and sacrifice a front wheel of his own, but in the end he didn't turn up, and Alfie had to struggle through the rest of the stage by botching the spokes together with pieces of string and pieces of tie wrap. A quite ingenious way to get to the finish, but he has lost time. This is Sala nearly going off the road, not only once, but twice. And this is Dupre on his BMW. And he bent a torque arm. Remember that the BMW's shaft driven. He bent a torque arm and eventually had to get the stones in to try and bend it back. Britain's John Deacon had a terrible couple of moments through the rough stuff. Went past a lot of riders but then broke down. He also passed Tiernan, who also had some engine problems. Cyril Desprez having problems on his BMW as well. America's Jimmy Lewis continued on and only lost 16 minutes today with still a very, very sore left hand after his big crash a couple of days ago. That is the stage then. Esteve Pujol, just over 4 hours and 2 minutes to complete the section ahead of Mioni. Lundmark, what a result that is, in third. And then overall, Richard Sankt from Fabrizio Mioni, Roma, De Gavado and Esteve Pujol. Esteve Pujol, fifth on the stage today. I'm happy because the conditions were very similar to yesterday. Esteve Pujol, sorry, the winner today. It was difficult to overtake, but I was near to the leaders, and at the refueling stop, the man made a mistake and forgot to refuel me completely. My machine didn't work perfectly, and I maybe could have done even better.
Yo creo que el tema del repostaje tiene que volver a ser como los años atrás.
Unfortunately, just before the first CP, I was in the dust behind Mioni, and as I was coming to pass him, there was a big stone, and boom, I smashed the front wheel. And I thought John Brucey was close behind our mechanic rider, and he never came after half an hour. I had to fix the wheel myself, and you know, trying to come with a broken wheel, there's big risk to go at high speed, and I've had to stop and fix the wheel 2-3 times along the way, and I've lost a lot of time.
Frédéric Moncassin, winner of stages on the Tour de France, but only in 1996, and indeed leading overall the Tour de France, the biggest and the best cycle race in the world, is now doing the Dakar. Having said that, once he gets to the bivouac, Moncassin finding time to, well, get in a little bit of training. The cycle is a passion for me. I discovered cycling when 3.5 years old, when my father did trials and took me along with him. He had a 350 Bultaco, and maybe this is the reason why I am involved on two wheels. The bike is very difficult because the fitness of the rider and the competitiveness of the bike is very difficult rather than the fitness of just me on a cycle on a stage of the Tour de France. Drama and action has kicked off the Dakar on day 7. Jean-Louis Schlesser here in the zone just before the second control point today. The engine wouldn't start for some reason or other. 3 policemen or so, plus his teammate Jose Maria Servio, pushed starting the V6 that then barks into life and continues on. Now that is technically against the rules, and at the moment, as this program has been produced here in the middle of the Sahara Desert, it is to be decided what is to happen to Schlesser this evening. However, Jean-Pierre Fontenay in his Mitsubishi therefore took the lead at one point because Schlesser had a puncture with one of the rear tyres, and therefore Schless had to stop and change it. Jean-Pierre Fontenay in the blue and white 201 Mitsubishi Pajero was essentially leading the rally overall, but only on the road. Jose Maria Servia and the second Schlesser buggy, two-wheel drive of course, finished second on the stage. Schlesser was victorious, which is why there could be a penalty of time. We do not know what time it will be at the moment. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe even 1 hour, some people are saying. We shall find out. However, a problem for the Frenchman Jean-Pierre Fontenay under the bonnet of the Mitsu, and look at that, Schlesser then repasses Fontenay on the stage. Fontenay finished third today, but he was 12.5 minutes back. But soon Fontenay was fighting back. A real battle, absolutely hammer and tongs, the pair of them were at it. French drivers, but one French car for Schlesser and one Japanese car for Fontenay. You regularly think of circuit racing involving people passing each other regularly. However, the Dakar has really taken the breath away from many people in the bivouac this evening with these images. So then, what of the rest? Masuoka managed to get past Jean-Pierre Fontenay. Masuoka finishing fourth on the stage today, 18 minutes and 1 second. Then Fontenay had a problem. Look at that left-hand rear tyre, the one closest to our camera. You can see it has a puncture, and he just looks out just to check, and then roadbook on the dashboard, tyre change in operation. Masuoka continued on. Constant revs on the long, long open stretches. But it was Schlesser who was victorious, followed by Jose Maria Servia on the stage today. Fontenay third, Masuoka fourth. That was your top four, covered by 18 minutes. Kenjiro Shinazuka, seventh on the stage today, co-driven of course by Ulster's Fred Gallagher. No problems for Shinazuka today. Gregoire de Mavius on board with the two-time Group N World Rally Champion. Co-driver saying, just keep things in touch. Go left, go left. Now, de Mavius had a problem. He lost his brakes for 150 kilometers, and Gregoire was therefore using the gearbox to lose some speed. In the end, he trusted the brake pedal, even though it was only having a little bit of feel right at the bottom of the pedal. Quite unnerving, obviously, for de Mavius. Jutta Kleinschmidt, sixth on the stage today. By the way, Gregoire de Mavius, 14th on the stage after that brake problem. Here is Bruno Sabi, ninth today. He's talking to us and he says the car is developed well, but likewise it's still got a bit more potential to run. What we want is to follow our project to the next level. We have not the same facilities in which to compete against the others, i.e. the big manufacturers, and sometimes, though, we do get up there. Bit of a handful, as you can see. Look at that, lock to lock. Here's Bruno Sabi, former European rally champion, of course. Enrad had a good day today, 12th position for him in his Volkswagen-based buggy, whilst America's Darren Skilton continues in his Kia, and a correction from earlier, Kurt Leduc does continue the Dakar 2001 in his sister Kia machine.
300, wash, 1 mark.
Thierry Delaverne had a massive problem with his front left shock absorber today. It exploded, and of course it lost all its oil, and no shocking means, as you can see on the upright there, that wheel running at a very incorrect angle. Delaverne lucky to get through the stage to finish 8th. Masuoka given the stage win for the time being, but maybe Schlesser will be reinstated. Please keep in touch. Servia up to second, Fontenay up to third, Schlesser, as you can see, back there in third. However, Schlesser leads overall, Servia in second, Fontenay, Masuoka and Souza.
Today, first 400 kilometers, a little bit long, and very, very stony beginning. And last 100 kilometers, every time is jumping. So our car is perfect, every time flat. So I like my Pajero. So today I'm very happy. Je pensais que j'avais quelque chose de bloqué.
I thought I had something wrong with the engine.
Vous étiez là? Ah bon?
Et alors, vous savez que vous avez peut-être une pénalité.
Ah non, pourquoi?
Do you know that you'll have a penalty because you were pushed? No, says Jean-Louis. No, why? My co-driver and my teammates helped me, but I was not pushed. I haven't been pushed in any way, and I left the control point under my own steam. This evening, on day 7 of the Dakar 2001, sees the first arrival of the airborne mechanics, rather than those travelling with the circus in the service trucks. Dakar organisers trying to reduce the number of aeroplanes after a silly number a few years ago. This is Patrick Zanaroli saying, this year we want to reduce the number of aeroplanes, and therefore we have 3 rotation of airborne mechanics, and the first is here this evening in Smara, where they arrived at 10 o'clock this morning. Now the mechanics can work all night, but tomorrow morning they must return back to Paris. Curiously though, he says there's only 50 of them on the flight. Now this decision has been made because of safety, and therefore there have been more service trucks this year than any other year. Eventually we want to get it down to 1 rotation of airborne mechanics, which will be on the middle day of the rally, i.e. the rest day. Free service, of course, on the Dakar, unlike the WRC. With regards to the racing trucks, the big monsters of the desert, it was a good day for the Tatra squad of Lopre. Meanwhile, here is De Azevedo, the Brazilian driver, with the 2 Czech Republic co-drivers. Meanwhile, problems for the Kamaz crew of Chagin, who lost 10.5 minutes after having to, well, get into some truck consultancy. Therefore, leading overall is Kabirov, Chagin De Azevedo in 3rd. These guys, well, they really are the boys. One of the Nissan service trucks. Whoops. That's what they said anyway. Just missing out completely and reversing completely into one of the Mitsubishis. And a few words will be exchanged, and indeed a few insurance papers. Trying to get the thing towed out and rolling. And he does. Tomorrow sees us start the first of the 8 Mauritanian stages, the first desert stage and the longest stage of the rally. And I mean the first really big desert stage. It brings together all types of terrain, and the competitors will discover many, many types of terrain on this particular stage. A real monster, 619 kilometers.